you. Thank you, everyone. Hi, I am Amrita Ganguly. I'm a third-year PhD student from George Mason University. I'm going to present our paper, ShadowMagic, Designing Human AI Collaborative Support for Comic Professionals Shadowing. And here are our amazing collaborators. We have 5 from George Mason University. One of our collaborators are from Midjourney, and we have one collaborator from Busan National University. So in comic colorization, there are multiple stages. And among these stages, shadowing is important because it allows artists to convey the realistic volume. Also, if they want to indicate the emotion of the shadow, emotion of the character, they can do this using the shadows. But the problem is professionals are using mainstream software editing tools and using the basic features such as brush, eraser, and lassos, as you can see in this time lapse. So to understand the general flow of shadowing and like what makes a shadow good or bad and how AI can support this shadowing, we did our formative study with 5 participants who are comic professionals with 5 years of experience, and they are from the same company. So now I will talk about 4 insights from our formative study. There are more. Please refer to the paper to get more insights from our formative study. So first, we could see that shadowing is highly dependent on context. So what does context mean? It means staging and attention guidance. I will talk more about the staging and attention guidance. So staging. Staging is when comic professionals wants to direct users' attention or focus to the emotion of the character through their shadowing. So for example, in this image, you can see if this girl is my neighbor, looks like she is waving her hand to say me a hi in a very sunny morning, which is kind greetings. But in this image, changing the shadow slightly on the face, now it looks like though she's giving me a hi, it's a conspiracy. Maybe she's gonna kill me after that. So this is how staging is an important aspect for shadowing. Another factor which I said is attention guidance for context. It is if you see the character, there are detailed shadowing on the character's position and also on the weapons that will direct the reader's attention to its position rather than the situation. But now, simplifying the shadow on the character's weapons and the position and focusing on the upper part of the character, now it will lead the reader's attention to the upper part of the character's face, where the character is looking up onto someone who is kneeling. So this is how professionals use shadowing to guide readers' attention to the scenario. So from these highlights, we could also understand that context is a very creative and unique process for professionals, and that is what they largely enjoy, and they want to do it by their own. They might not be that much open for AI support on this matter, and they would like to have some support so that they can do this context by their own or like direct the users. It's a very unique process for them. But another thing which is landscaping, which is deciding where to put the big blocks of shadow, it takes a lot of time and attention from the comic professionals, and they might be open to grab some AI support in that situation because it takes time for them, and this one is manual and time consuming for them. So they will be open for AI support in this phase. So the third highlight is, other than the context and the landscaping, there are some other aspects that can make the comic professionals feel a task tedious or enjoyable. For example, you can see the hair. It is like there are too many strings and it has complex patterns. Shadowing this repetitive task sometimes is labor intensive for the comic professional. Also, like complex patterns on the hands and the clothes, these are also labor intensive. Also, like background crowd, which doesn't have any value in case of staging perspective, those things are laborious to them, and they don't want to do those things by their own. They are open for AI support on those things. The fourth highlight that I want to share is they also shared there are commonly used light direction for the comic shadowing, other than the 360-degree light shadowing, as some of the tools are using 360-degree light shadowing. But they prefer a standard set of light direction because 360-degree might be redundant. So now I will talk about the design requirements that we came up with after the formative study. So firstly, there should be a way to improve the initial quality of AI suggestions, and also there should be way to semantically segment the comic character so that they can refine the parts that they want and keep the parts that they like from the AI suggestion. And there should be predefined light direction, also some manual refinement and revision tools so that they can revise the outcomes that they got from the AI support. So now I will talk about our system, where we have two models and the web UI, and we made this based on our design requirements, and where the first model is for the initial shadow prediction. It is based on stable diffusion and control net. Here is a video that shows how the first model works. So if we have the flat and line drawing, it will be generating four light direction shadows, and under each light direction there will be 4 variants. Please refer to the paper for technical information about these models. And the second model is for character semantic segmentation. It is based on YOLO V5 and flat base segmentation. Here is how it works. So if we have the flat input, we can get the semantically segmented contours, and if we place that on the shadow input, we can get the cropped shadow based on semantic contours. So now I will talk about the web UI. So here is our front end, ShadowMagic, to incorporate the models and also the other design requirements. Here is how our tool works. So a professional can open a PSD file, and he can see the layers on the canvas on the side panel, which are flat and line layers. There are also light controls, and they can generate and see the shadow from 4 light direction. And under each light direction, they can see the 4 variants and plug in, play with the 4 variants on the canvas. There are other options like opacity and shadow size shrinking and expanding. Now, if they doesn't like as part of the shadow, for example, the face, they can use the editor tools and draw the shadow by their own. Now, if they like the shadow results, they can bookmark multiple shadows, and yeah, they can download these shadows. Yes, so after the formative study and the system information, now I will talk about the summative study. We did our summative study to assess the initial quality, perceived quality of the shadows, also the quality of the tool interaction. And what we did is we created 48 shadows using the baseline and hour method. And we asked participants to rate the perceived quality of the shadow. And we found that ShadowMagic results received higher rating than the baseline. Participants also mentioned that it helped them planning the landscaping, like where to put the big chunks of shadow, which reduced their time that they are spending for the shadowing. But there were some uncertainty with some of the poor AI suggestions. They also really appreciated the semantic segmentation, which let them refine the segments that they didn't like. But when they were refining, they said there were some lacking with the brush and eraser, and for that they had to move to other mainstream software to refine those parts. So talking, now I will talk about the implication for design, and I will end my presentation with that. So future researchers should think about how the model can be generalized to adopt other variations of shadow styles other than the binary one that we have done, which is that can be multi-level and gradient shadowing. This can be challenging, and some of the professionals also mentioned about AI recommendations, like personalized AI recommendations, where they can manipulate the AI to generate their expected outcome. For example, what about changing the various light directions and also directing the attention with some information from their point. And we should, future researchers can also think about interaction modality. So currently, the professionals are using direct manipulation, where they draw something in 2D and get the output from the tools. But what about verbal description or hybrid? This can introduce challenges, also some opportunities. Oh, I didn't highlight, sorry. This one is the interaction modality, which I was talking, direct manipulation and verbal description and the hybrid. Also, like from our previous insight from the project, which is ShadowMagic, we got into Kai 2022, we should think about beyond stage-by-stage intermediate representation. It is, we need to think what users want at each step of the stages. No, I mean, we shouldn't think about only the stages. We need to break down the stages into steps. For our example, the stage is shadowing, but you can see there are multiple steps of doing that shadowing. They don't like, they won't prefer AI intervention in the shadowing the context, but they would like to prefer to do the, to have AI support for the tedious parts. So the user preference can be changed based on the steps. So we should also think about that. Lastly, adopting generative AI in AI professionals' workflow. Professionals, we can see that generative AI is very good for casual users who lack expertise, but professionals, they're very productivity driven, and they use their tools that they have been using for years. So it's hard for them, or it will be tough for them to adopt any generative AI related stuffs. So yes, that is also one important thing that we should keep in mind. That can be a challenge for professionals to adopt generative AI in their workflow. I think that's all. And here we are Team ShadowMagic. And you can also find me on my LinkedIn from this QR code. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the great talk. So we have time for 2 or 3 questions. Please come up to the microphone up here. In the meantime, I'll start with one question. So how does adding shadows advance storytelling in terms of character staging? You were hinting at character staging before a bit, but I'd like to learn more about how it advances the story as opposed to simply being a geometric perspective.
Yeah, I mean, like professionals do the shadowing too, like as I showed one of the examples, that to indicate the emotions, and also they guide the user's attention through the shadowing. So that's how, for example, if there is a storyline where some girl, I mean my neighbor is like showing me hi, but the next day I feel like she's doing some conspiracy. In that case, the shadow will be different. And that's what I think I have showed here, that shadowing is different in case of different scenarios of the story. So that's how they proceed for the storytelling in case of shadowing, based on their context of the story. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the great talk. Soy Kianzat from Huawei Technology. I was wondering if we can extend some of the learnings that we have from here to realistic photos. For example, you take a photo, you try to create shadows on a person, and how, if we can change the perception of us in the photo based on the shadow that we add to that.
Perception?
Yeah, basically, like for example, like the one that you have here is the conspiracy one. Can we also do that with realistic photos? as well?
Realistic photos?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's one of our design implications, that there are other shadow styles like gradient and multi-level. The one we are doing is for comic professional, and it's like binary shadows. But definitely we need to think about some other shadow styles that can be used for real-time photos. But for now, in this project, we are not working with any real-time photos or anything. It's just the line drawing. We are using the line drawing and flatting to generate the shadows. And it is very specified to the comic professionals. And we got this data from the comic professionals industry, from their company. So yeah, that's it.
I think we don't have time. A quick one. Can you make it quick?
Thank you for the great speech. I heard that you will soon break down the drawing stages into really smaller one and figure out which part is tedious and replace it with AI. Then what stage do you think will finally left for the artist, and which stage artists would love to do?
It's the context. Like, for example, in the face, most of the time, face is very important for them. Like, they want to indicate the emotion of the comic character through the shadowing on the face. So in that case, like, they don't want to AI the cover the face. I won't say they don't. Like, they may not like. So that's why we have the semantic segmentation, so that they can turn off the shadows that they don't like and draw by their own. But also we are suggesting shadows for the face. If they like, then they can keep it. And we could found that some comic professionals liked the shadows on the face, but even they don't like, either they can like completely remove it, or like start editing the existing one. For example, if it's too bigger, they can erase the part that they don't like, or maybe modify slightly. That is also supported by our tool, that they can modify the existing shadow that AI is like giving us as suggestion. Yeah, but addressing one more thing is for the, like, now we are generating the whole shadow. Maybe there can be personalized suggestion based on the like information. What if we can get some information from the comic professionals so that they can get personalized AI suggestion? Yeah, that is also one of the future implications that I have discussed. Yeah. Thank you.
All right.